Monica from Looking for Group. Today I'm here with Dan Wort, the Director of Esports at Bethel University. How are you doing today, Dan?
Hey, doing good for a Monday morning. It's raining outside, but hey, we're back at it.
Well, Dan, it's always sunny in Philadelphia. It is a beautiful day over here. And I hope to bring some positivity over to your end with the weather over there with some awesome questions talking about your esports program. So, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. I want to know a little bit about the history of your program. How did it get started at Bethel? Was it the students that came forward, the administration? What were the beginning roots of this program?
Yeah, so thanks. So actually, the kind of the beginning roots were really started probably about a year to 2 years ago. Um, the president of our college or university and some other folks began to um, kind of learn a little bit more. They were involved in some webinars. They talked to some different people, and they kind of had it on their radar as a possible expansion and offering esports through our athletic program. Then the opportunity kind of came about with a local place in the city next door that was actually going to be developing an esports arena. And so it was kind of a perfect fit. And that company and that place, Bendix Arena, which we'll get to in a little bit, they met with our president and said, "Yeah, we're willing to make our place a home for Bethel for esports." And so that's kind of how it started. And that was they announced it late last fall of 2019, and then I was hired as part-time director in mid-March to really oversee the entire development and launch of the program. And I've just been working over the spring and summer, and just launched it this fall, this semester.
Yay, congratulations. So what kind of games did you launch with? How many games are you playing? What are the titles? And are you going to be competing in any leagues this semester?
Yeah, so we actually are participating in three different game titles right now: Overwatch, Rocket League, and Super Smash Bros. We were originally looking at the possibility of having a League of Legends team this fall, but during my recruiting process, there just weren't enough players available at this time to be able to field a varsity team. We do have kind of a club team, league team going on. But I pretty much let them do their own thing right now, because and some of the players that were doing it either were already on another athletic team and they just didn't have the time, or they were ineligible to participate this year. So that's kind of why we just chose those three games. From a league standpoint, we're fortunate we actually are a part of two different leagues, a regional conference, the Great Lakes Esports Conference. There are 12 teams in Indiana and Ohio, and that was a conference that started last year, and then they lost about two or three members that went to a different conference or started their own conference, so they were opening up, and so we joined that this year, and then we're also part of ECAC Esports. And actually, we played. You mentioned St. Joseph's University. We actually played them in Overwatch, and I'm sorry to say that we beat you.
Oh goodness. Well,
That's
hey,
okay.
that's
That's okay.
it's competition. It's friendly.
Oh, it's great. I love ECAC. So that's kind of the two different competition platforms we're a part of this year.
That's excellent. So you talked a little bit about how you had some casual players with League of Legends since you can't you support a competitive team right now. Can you tell me generally about the difference between your casual and competitive communities on campus? Or how are they different, and how do you bridge the gap between those two different but similar communities of people?
Yeah, so actually, just sort of getting started, my vision for the program was kind of a threefold vision. One being the varsity program, which I put most of my effort onto. Um, the second one being kind of a club program to engage some of the other players on campus and other community and get the kids involved. And then the third was kind of an academic component. That's sort of more in the future, a possibility of, maybe doing a class on esports management or something like that, and connecting with the faculty, and, and, and looking at the esports industry, and as a whole. The club program, Um, we actually have already had an event. We did an event, a 1v1, a Smash Bros tournament. And I kind of did it for a couple reasons. One, as a way to kind of promote the program and to get some excitement on campus, but also I needed some additional players and I was looking for some walk-ons, and I actually got two pretty good Smash players out of it that I invited to join our team, as a walk on. So that's still kind of in its infancy. We're just kind of still beginning to get that rolling. But for the future, I see being able to do some fun game nights, things like that. Get some kids involved in kind of, that maybe aren't on our team but might be interested in kind of supporting the team, possibly doing some casting and being involved in streaming, things like that. So that's kind of the difference right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like you have this unique experience set up for players, casual players, and then, experiential learning opportunities and academic opportunities coming along the way. It's like you've got all three buckets filled, which is great. So switching gears
Well,
a little, what's that?
at least I wouldn't say they're all filled right now, but the buckets are
Filling up.
sitting out there. There
Filling
you
up.
go.
How's
There
that?
you
How's that?
go.
We're filling them
Okay,
up.
that works. That works.
Sweet. So, switching gears a little, you mentioned this at the beginning of the interview, and now I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell me all about it. I want to know about the facility you have on or off campus. What kinds of computers are available, the peripherals, what, the students are going to be asking, what kinds of, gear is inside of these PCs, how are they running? So, tell me a little bit about that.
So like I said, we have a partnership with Bendix Arena in downtown South Bend. Um, when I first started the development of this process, the expectation was that this arena would be open and ready to go mid-July. And then COVID happened, and that shut down a lot of the travel, that shut down a lot of the people going and staying in hotels, because one of the ways that they were going to fund it, because it's inside of a convention center, one of the ways that they were going to fund it was through hotel motel tax. And so when nobody was going and staying at hotels and motels and restaurants and things like that, they had to look at kind of changing the budget somewhat, pushing it back. So what we thought was going to be a brand new, arena and land center that we would have call our home in this semester turned out to be sort of a hybrid plan for this fall, which included partnering with a friend of mine at a local high school. He's an esports director at a local high school, and so like our Overwatch team is practicing and competing from there because he's got the gaming PCs. Then we put in, I partnered with a local monitor supplier in South Bend called Viatech. They produce gaming monitors that are really awesome, by the way. And they donated some monitors for us, and we're going to eventually invest in some more with them. So we put some monitors downstairs in the basement of our student media building. That's also where we've got our streaming PC set up there. So our Rocket League kids and our Smash Bros kids are actually gaming from downstairs down there. They already all have their own equipment. So our Smash Bros team, they already all have Nintendo Switches. So they're just hooking up with those monitors. Our Rocket League kids are either playing on their gaming laptops or, a console. So they've got that. Eventually, what we're kind of doing, we kind of have a two-tier, three-tier phase plan. The first phase, once the Bendix Arena opens up in December, we'll be there in the spring, and they've got pretty high-end Omen PCs, Omen peripherals, Secret Lab gaming chairs, so they'll have the everything. And then we're going to look at developing kind of a small practice facility on campus as we raise funds. And that's kind of that beginning phase where we're going to be buying equipment and building them, just to have something available on campus. Eventually, as we get more funding, we'll have a much larger facility on campus. Ideally, I'd love to have, a 40 station, 40, 50 station arena that our team can use, the kids on campus can use, and it would be open to the community to come in as a pay to play and things like that. So it's kind of a a beginning and a middle and a end stage. So it's all developing as we go along.
It sounds like you have a really clear vision at hand here. I have one question about the outside arena. How are
Mhm.
students getting there? Are they? Is it in walking distance? Are you busing them
No,
there?
it's about 10 minutes away, so
Okay.
they'll just kind of carpool. And that's actually the high school facility is actually about 30 minutes away. So that's a little bit more, challenging to get to. And of course, they are also have been gaming from their room or home. We've kind of got a combination of on-campus students and some commuters. And so when we have had some matches or practices and we couldn't get over to the facility, um, they would just, jump online from their room, from home, whatsoever, with their own equipment.
Oh, okay.
So,
Excellent.
yeah,
That works. That works indeed.
yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, it works.
So, switching gears one more time, we're gonna kind of get through the rest of these here. So,
Mhm.
when you're talking to prospective students about the esports program, what's one thing that you share that sets Bethel's program apart from others? What's something
Yeah,
unique?
Yeah, so we're a small Christian university. We've got a very strong focus on academics and developing students to become leaders in whatever field that they choose. Um, I, I'm coming at this. I work part time, and I'm a business person. I've been in sales and marketing and executive sales and marketing and management for over 25 years. So I bring kind of a unique perspective to our program. So I look at it as opportunities to really build and develop and kind of see that vision and be able to take all of that and develop it and promote not only what we're doing now but going to the future. Um, we're a varsity program under the athletics department, and kind of what I talk to kids about. I tell them their players, their priorities should be God first, academic second, gaming third, and it kind of how this program how that sort of fleshes itself out in practices through things like weekly chapel attendance. We have devotions and Bible verses that I encourage them and share with them just to kind of make some connections between gaming and their faith. We limit our games to those that are rated T or E. We limit the amount of scheduled practice time just so that they have enough time for their classes and homework and stuff. And I'm flexible with them, knowing that they're students first. And I tell them that I say that, hey, if we have a practice and you've got a big test the next day or you got to finish up a paper and you want to skip the practice or you want to game from your room instead of going over to our facility. I'm really flexible with that because I know that I want them to really focus on their academics. Yes, I want us to be competitive. We're going to get there, but I also have college kids myself that I hold to high standards. So I expect the same kind of from my players as well. And mainly, I look for high character kids that have a good work ethic and really place a high value on their education in addition to their gaming. So that's kind of what sets us apart.
Excellent. Yeah, I've been getting that feedback overall. Is like the coaches and the directors are looking for good character in their students. They just want to make sure that their heads are in the right place and their priorities
Yep.
are in line. So
Yeah.
again, for those prospective students then who are looking for an esports program, either specifically applying at Bethel or just generally on their college search, Dan, what kind of advice would you leave these students with?
I would say what I tell all of the students when I'm, talking with future students and perspectives is number one, focus on your academics. That needs to be your priority number one because um, if you focus on your academics and you do your work, you get decent grades, that really speaks volumes to people like me because I look at it and say, you know, you have just as much interest in just you're putting just as much time into your academics as you are to gaming, and that's going to pay off, in the long run. So that would be, the first priority. Secondly, in terms of soft skills, I say you need to be able to communicate well. You need to have a good attitude. You need to be professional. Um, when a coach reaches out to you, whether via text or email or something, let's say they found you on on a recruiting site, and they send an email to you, even if maybe you're not that interested in that program, you need to respond back to that coach. You need to email them back or text them back or something like that, and say, hey, coach, thanks for reaching out to me. I really appreciate it. Here's what I'm doing or whatever like that. Because that's kind of a I'm old school. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine is when I reach out and I communicate with somebody and then they don't reach out back. That really knocks them down a notch in my book. And my thought is if you're not going to take the time to acknowledge when a coach sends you, um, information or reaches out to you, then maybe I don't want you on my team.
Yeah, I think that's just a common problem right now across many industries, the whole ghosting mentality. And, people I feel don't want to hurt someone's feelings by saying, I'm not interested. But in this case, you're saying it's better to tell you that I'm not interested than just leave you on red.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's really important to communicate, and something I haven't heard in these coaches interviews. I guess that is like a really common problem. That sorry, my cat's just chilling in the background there, but
Oh no,
a
you're good.
really common problem that that we as a collective we're trying to find a solution for, because this happens in the hiring process too on both ends.
Mhm.
So I think it's really important to catch that behavior now and be able to. That's really good advice. Yeah, that's really great.
Ah, well, again, it's old school for me,
I know.
I mean, and I know that the younger generation today, they kind of tend to communicate in a different manner, but they have to understand that a lot of times they are being recruited in a way, and they are being hired by people that are older and that are used to expecting some level of communication. So they need to learn that right now. And some kids have been good, but others, they could stand to improve.
And I think that's a really good piece of advice to leave off with. Is there anything about the Bethel University sports program that we didn't get to chat about through this interview that you'd like to mention now?
Yeah, yeah. The main thing is that we have an extremely strong culture in athletics at Bethel, for all of our teams and student athletes. We have 30 different athletic teams on campus, and probably at least 40% of our students are athletes. And so we kind of lead when it comes to kind of culture around the campus. The athletic department really sets the standard and sets the example for that. And it's really our I'm just wanted to share our kind of our four core values. One is spiritual formation. We're committed to the nurturing and flourishing of a relationship with God in each of our student athletes. Number two is academic excellence, which I talked about. We're really committed to our student athletes achieving and exceeding in their academic work to help prepare them for their calling and career. Number three is servant leadership. We're really committed to developing our student athletes just as servant leaders throughout leadership training, service opportunities, missions trips, things like that. Again, that's something that they can take on when they graduate. And then fourth, being the athletic development. Committed to developing their skills, and in this case, their gaming skills, abilities, and talents, through training, practices, competitions, with the ultimate goal of glorifying God as we compete. So those are kind of our four core values and four key pillars that go across the broad spectrum of all of our athletic teams.
Awesome. Well, Dan, thank you so much for sharing all of this wonderful knowledge about your esports program. I'm sure any prospective students listening to this interview are feeling more confident in if this is going to be a good fit. So, if they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to do so? Email, Twitter, LinkedIn? What's
Yeah, so they could a variety of different things. We're on Twitter. We're BU Pilots Esports. BU Pilots Esports. We're on Facebook the same way. It's betheluniversity.edu that you can find out about the university, or they could email me. It's daniel.wirt@betheluniversity.edu.
all right? Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dan. It was so nice getting to learn about Bethel's program.
Hey, thanks a lot, Monica. You have an awesome day.
Thank you.